Hello there. It's Rita at Gold Medical Jobs back again. So, so, good grief. So I actually talked to a new nurse manager, a relatively new grad, and and he's also a wonderful. He started as a student and he continues on now that he's an RN at the same. At the same location where we shower the homeless. We provide food and clothing and showers and a health clinic. And he was involved in that as a student and continues now as an RN on a volunteer basis, as do I. And towards the end of our time there, we put in about 6 hours on Tuesday. 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30. Yeah, about 5.5, 6 hours. And he was asking me a little about Gold Medical and asking me about one or two of the clients that we were concerned about. And then I was asking him how his career was going. And he told me that he did get a position. It's, a step in the direction. He's not sure as a younger, newer nurse, if he wants to continue in this direction, but he is providing geri care at a senior nursing facility, a rehab and skilled facility. And I asked him how it was going, and he said, I like it a lot. I feel nervous. And I asked him how he was prioritizing, told me a little bit about it. And I remember being a brand new nurse. And I remember when things went awry or when coworkers or team members did something that might have been disappointing. Hang on a sec. I was sick a week or so ago. I was sick on October 19th, and now it's November 6th. So I've been well. I've been well for about a week, but I still have like some nagging little symptoms that are gross that I don't want to tell you about, but dry throat is one of them. And we have Santa Ana's here in Southern California. They're just about over, but it's been very dry, so that's part of it. At any rate, back to my my nurse manager story. So he is working as pretty much the RN at a skilled nursing facility and rehab center. It's a pretty big one, and it's affiliated with an assisted living and a senior living situation and a memory care. But he's in that skilled and rehab area. And when he explained to me what was difficult, what he was finding difficult, and how he set up his mind, I realized he's doing some things absolutely right, and then some things that he just didn't get prepared for. And I don't know how much time. I know my program was pretty abbreviated back in the 70s. My God, the 1970s, right? Good music, though. It's just ages ago. But so I do have nursing professors that are active now, and they do give me good input. But I recall in my very, fast-paced, abbreviated program that we just touched on certain things. There's so many diseases and so many syndromes and processes and kind of areas of medicine and health and wellness that some of them got lumped together. For example, at the very end of my nursing program, they threw in alcoholism and childhood, brain disorders like spina bifida, and they just kind of lumped it all together because they were like, uh-oh, we didn't tell them about this. We didn't do a chapter or a class or a clinical on it. So they just kind of had one big day of seminars and threw in a lot of things. So I'm not sure how much is addressed as the role of nurse manager. And he was hired as an RN, and he didn't realize that it would require a certain amount of management and extra responsibility. So in addition to his license and the things that he does for his patients and clients at this nursing facility, he is assuming a lot of responsibility that the aides and LVNs are doing. So one of the things he told me about was that he has one nurse aide, and he let the nurse aides know, I'm going to be here, we're going to be working together, thank you, I'm happy to be here and all that. He's just a really pleasant young man and very compassionate and very fearless and very kind and thoughtful. He did let them know it's really important to him because he has met patients on cardiac meds and for a variety of reasons to have vital signs done and reported to him as soon as possible or charted wherever they're charting it. And he said this one nurse aide is terrific and she just does it. And this other nurse aide often doesn't do it. And he has to go seek her out and look for it. And then she'll say, no, I didn't do it. And he's happy to do it himself. She's not cooperating. She's not doing her job. And she's making his job more precarious and more difficult. So I suggested to him, I said, I almost said his name. I'm not going to say his name. I don't have his permission. But I said, when I was a younger nurse, I never knew what to do with that. One of my first jobs, I was put not only in not a manager position, but a leader position, but I was also a scab. I crossed a picket line at this dialysis, outpatient dialysis center where they were bringing in RNs to manage the patients. It was huge and very busy, and a lot of patients were seen on a daily basis. But they were phasing out dialysis technicians on the front lines facing on with the patients. So they were cutting way back on that. They were going to continue with some technicians to take care of the machinery, but they were bringing in RNs to take care of the patients. So when I was there, it was still quite a few technicians and many, many more nurses, and many of us were newer nurses, and it was difficult. It was difficult for me because they knew the technical part of their job. They were familiar with the patients. They had been there for quite some time, years. And here I come in, brand new. And it took me probably several months before I was comfortable with the work and comfortable with the care I was giving, that I could assume proper leadership positions. For example, assigning patients to technicians and assigning patients to other nurses, and dealing with all these different personalities and power struggles and insubordination. So I didn't use that word with him, but I said, you might want to take that nurse aide aside and let her know that, actually, I'm not sure how things went before I'm here, but now I'm actually the leader of this team as an RN. And here are my concerns. I have patients on cardiac meds and so forth. So I need your cooperation. And I understand sometimes if things get in the way, but let's set up a schedule. If the shift starts at 7 or we need vitals by 9 or whatever the situation is, that's what I really need from you. And I understand if things are interfering and you can't get to it by that certain time, whatever time they set, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever, that you just come to me and let me know. I got vital signs in room 1, A, B, and C, and 2, A, B, and C, but I have not gotten to room 3 and 4 or 5 and 6, whatever. Just let me know. We'll work as a team. So in doing that, I said, you might even want to comment that, now that I am here and we're working together, I will be responsible for reviewing you. So I'd like our communication to be, open and continuous and positive and honest and all of that. So next time I see him, or next time we have a chance to have a conversation, I'm going to ask him how it's going. But it led me to thinking of, giving. I always like to give my little A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4. And for many of you that I'm talking to that are nurses and/or nurse managers, and/or nurse leaders, or new nurses, or maybe nurses in a new facility, having these experiences with team members and/or coworkers and/or staff under you. Okay, lesser trained staff. So the science background of the nursing graduates today, primarily a lot of BS nurses, and are working with LVNs who traditionally do not have this as strong a science background, do not have as much time in clinics and classrooms as RNs. They have a different degree. I'm not even sure how LVNs, I imagine they can take college courses, but they were traditionally in programs that were about a year long. So there are wonderful caregivers out there at every level: MA, NA, CNA, LVN, LPN, LPT. They're wonderful. But as an RN, you are, there's an expectation. You have the education, you have the science background, you have the knowledge and practice to do things at a different level. For example, you can deal with central lines. You can, what in your course of practice, you're going to take it to that next level. So if you have somebody that you're working with that isn't at that level, and they attempt to maybe do a CVP line change or whatever, you have to have the wherewithal to step in and say, I'm sorry, that's out of your scope of practice, and let's have a discussion about that, but I'll take over right now. So you have to be strong enough to do what's in your scope of practice and recognize what's in the scope of practice of the people you're working with, okay? So, so having talked to this young man made me think about good time to review the nurse in a general way, okay? Because there's so many different areas. There's skilled nursing and rehab centers and hospitals, and there's urgent cares, and there's doctor's offices, and there's hospitals and critical care units and so forth. So in a general way, I'm going to talk a little bit about clinical nurse management and leadership roles. So the nurse, and I just jotted down my notes. So I'm going to say at the top of the list, pretty much, you set the standards. Okay. So if you are, expectation is that you have time sensitive goals. Just a simple one would be, if you're in a skilled nursing facility and you're in charge of 30 patients, I'm gonna go back to my conversation with that nurse. Another concern he had that I understand as well too, and it's not having enough staff. That's often the case, but as a newbie, all he can do is talk to his supervisor until he gets a good grasp of his own time management and his duties. It's not something to complain about or make an issue about until he's really certain that his superiors haven't recognized something that exists. But I digress, as I always do. I apologize. Okay, so in a general way, these are pieces. We'll just go with A, setting standards. And a standard might be that everybody shows up on time, so timeliness might be one of your standards. Professional appearance might be a standard. Professional communication might be a standard. Whatever, set the standards, because if you're coming in and you're working the midday shift or the night shift or the day shift, and you're the only RN, and you're at the top of the heap in a skilled nursing / rehab, particularly on the midday and later shifts, not so much day shifts, there actually may be a physician present. And it's going to depend from state to state and town to town, and the levels of licensure at the facility you're at, or the hospital you're at. So that's going to vary. But for this young man, I'm kind of it. I'm like the RN. And I didn't realize that I was going to be in charge of all these people. So set a standard. Set your standards. And that will help your team. That will really help your team. It's kind of like, over the years, people I've worked with, maybe I'm coming onto a unit or coming in to help out on a unit or something, and they'll say, James is in charge. Oh, great. How is it working with James? And they go, what you see is what you get. That's not a bad thing. If he tells you, I need A, B, and C done, you know. You know, you're not guessing. Does he do it with a smile or a frown? Not much you can do about that. But if somebody is implying that somebody is, what you see is what you get, that is not a bad thing. That means things are not hidden, things are up front. I'll deal with that. That's fine. So set standards, that's important. 2, be a reliable resource. So if your CNA or your LVN comes to you and they can't find diapers, I mean, that's important. If you have patients that have those needs, so be a reliable resource. Know what to do when you're low on supplies, or where the backup stock is, or I'm kind of using him in his situation, but in any case, in any situation you're at, you in your position are going to be looked to as a leader and a go-to person. So be a reliable resource. Know where things are, have answers. If you don't have answers, that's okay. That's going to happen. Just say, I don't have that information right now. Maybe say there's a shortage of something, commodes, whatever. So you have to go with it. Say, I don't know, you need a 4th commode. We have 20 patients, but I do know where there are 3 commodes. So this is what we'll do right now. I know, Mrs. So-and-so in room 10B has been, starting to use her bathroom privilege. Let's go get hers. Let's disinfect it. And you can use that. And I will try to get a 4th one for our unit as soon as possible. So now you're not only a reliable resource, but you've been a problem solver. You've helped your staff member problem solve. So now we've got A, set standards, B, be a reliable resource. I've mentioned this, but I think it actually should be on a list. A, B, C. C, always be fair and honest. Okay, so maybe it is a situation where you're short-staffed, and within 4 hours of a shift starting, people need a break, and that's just not 5 minutes to go to the bathroom. They need a break. They need 15 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes, or maybe a full half-hour lunch break. So, so it's your job to see that happens, and how that happens is maybe when one let's say we have 20 patients and we have 4 nurse aides, right? 4 nurse aides? Am I stretching it? I don't know. But we're going to go with these numbers. We have 20 patients. We have 4 nurse aides. That means they have 5, 10, 15, 20. They have 5 patients each. And 2 of the nurse aides have gone on break. And you're behind schedule. So now the other 2 nurse aides have been working 4 hours, and instead of it being staggered and getting all those breaks in a timely manner, we're like a half an hour behind schedule, and those poor aides need a break. So what you might do is go to them and say, I'm sorry your breaks are late. I'm going to have you both break together, and we're going to report off to the other 2 nurse aides and myself, and we're going to manage your patients while you're having a break. We don't want you to worry about it. So that's being fair and that's being honest. The honesty comes in as saying we're off schedule. I'm sorry. We'll try not to let that happen again. but we're off schedule and we know you need a break, and this is what we're going to do about it. So be fair and honest. C. D. I'm going to put this in here. It's really good to have a sense of humor. It's really good to laugh at yourself, to find some joy in your day. I mean, 8 hours cannot be all work and no joy. There are things to be joyful about, okay? So have a sense of humor and don't be afraid to smile, grin. You know, there are things, there's certainly not things you make light of. You know, if somebody's in pain or a death occurs, that's not the time to laugh and make jokes. But in the course of the day, silly things happen, and it's okay. And it really helps everyone to know that you're human, that you enjoy your work, and you enjoy them, and you enjoy your clients, and you can find humor somehow. It's just wonderful. It's really the best way to get through life, you know, particularly when things are difficult, and they are. I think I'm going to make that my ABCD. I think everyone should approach life with a bit of humor and not be opposed to laughing and giggling and sharing that with your staff, because I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Absolutely. All right. And then A was set standards. B was be a reliable resource. C was be fair and honest. And D was have a sense of humor. E, and I think I incorporated this. I'm going to skip this one, effective decision maker, because if you're a reliable resource, you're going to also be an effective decision maker. So I think we incorporate that one. So my last one will be A, B, C, D, E. Okay, my fifth point is motivate your staff and empower them. So how can you motivate your staff? Well, that CNA, let's take the example of the young man that I was talking to that's kind of been surprised by being put in a leadership position as an RN in a rehab/nursing, skilled nursing facility. When he meets with his CNA that's not doing her job, not getting vital signs, and putting his license on the line because his cardiac patients may have a very rapid pulse and he's not treating it because he doesn't know what the pulse is. So when he has this meeting with, I think that letting them know not only what he needs of them, but why it's important and how big a difference they will make in the standard of the company, in the health of the patient, in the management of the unit, and so forth. So if you can motivate them to appreciate their importance and empower them to, maybe reward them, when they're doing a great job, like his other CNA. I'm sure the other CNA that's getting the vital signs done, a pat on the back is great. Maybe, I don't know what the reward could be. Take a few minutes on your break. I'm gonna cover for you. You did such a great job today. I saw you sweating and, running down the halls on your roller skates. So yeah, take an extra coffee break. You deserve it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So by motivating and empowering your staff, it just creates a better environment all around. So it's not complaining. It's prioritizing. It's having discussions about the importance of their work, the importance of your need to rely on them, and however you can motivate will just it'll be a reward. It'll be a reward to you, the patients, the company. I just can't stress it enough, you know. So communication in all of these areas is so key. I know yesterday we work with a bunch of wonderful people doing this showers of blessings that we do, showering the homeless. And so we have a bunch of male volunteers that set up the showers. You know, they have to hook. It's like a mobile unit with 2 showers and 2 sinks, and they have to hook up the drainage system and the water system and the canopies and the electricity and all of the things that go into play, open up the vents and get the fans going and so forth. And then we come in, we follow them in, and about a half an hour later, bring out all the supplies and towels and soaps and shampoos. And one of the fellas, retired fireman actually, he had been there before me doing the setup, and I came in, and in between showers we sanitize. So we pretty much wash with bleach everything. I have shower clothes now because everything's tie-dye. Anything, even the whites seem to have, but anything you wear, no matter how much you protect yourself with aprons, whatever, we use a lot of bleach. So I have my shower clothes now. They're all stained, tie-dyed, whatever. So in that process of sanitizing, we're washing down the shower curtain, the walls, the switches, the bench that they sit on, the sink, and so forth. And it's not a big area. It's a shower and a sink. The bathroom is separate. So we mop the floor, okay? Because our poor homeless people are coming in with all kinds of germs and bugs and dust and dirt and you name it and so forth. So that gets washed as well with bleach. And we have mops and water. So I arrived, the pail that the mop goes with had water in it, didn't seem to have any of the soap, which is disinfectant, bleach soap. So I added some of that, and I was getting ready to finish up cleaning. It's a very fast-paced thing. We have a lot of people needing showers, so we time them. We give them 3 minutes notice towards the end of the shower. You've got 3 minutes left. They get dressed, and boom, we run in there, pull out the towels, and clean everything up and sanitize again. And last thing we do is mop the floor. So I go to grab the mop, and it's a giant, heavy, wooden-handled mop with a long, I want to say 1.5 feet of, those heavy cotton. It wasn't the mops that I was accustomed to. We have 2 or 3 mops. We rotate them out and use them every week. And I was like, oh my goodness. And he happened to be standing nearby, and I said, oh my goodness, where did this mop come from? He says, oh, I don't know. Is it any good? I said, well, I don't know. I went and used it. And it took me a long time to squeeze out the mop because there was so much cotton on the end of it, more than 1 foot of it. It was heavy. And the wooden handle was probably 8 feet long. It was heavy. And I went into the bathroom, which is up a few steps. It's a mobile unit that you have to go up a few steps. And I went in and I did my mopping, and I came out, rinsed it and squeezed it dry again. And I said, do we have any other mops? I said, this one is so heavy and it's awkward and I hurt my finger on it. I banged my finger on it. And so he said, I'm going to go look. And then I worked with some other gals, and we were busy doing our things. So he was trying to work something out. And then something else came up, and he was working on getting another tarp in place to block some sun. And another fella came along. Anyway, my long-winded story is about the other fellow was telling him, well, we normally do it like this and like that. And so this fella's saying, well, this girl, one of my leaders, she wants it done this way. It works better this way. So he was working with everybody's demands. And I hear him say at one point, did you all want this done today? I think I heard somebody complaining because it was taking him a while to get it done. And I thought, yeah, that's unfortunate. He didn't need to know that my finger got hurt or how heavy the mop was. All I needed to say was, gee, are there any other mops that might work out a little better? You know, so communication is key. And he was, you know, it was all in the friendliest of ways, and everybody was very nice, but it's so easy to complain, you know, and oftentimes it's not even enough to complain about, you know. Lucky us, we have mops. Lucky us, we have towels, you know, running water, flushing toilets. I mean, these are great, great things, and things to be glad about. Can we improve? Of course, we can always improve. But when we're seeking help and maybe trying to be helpless to others, if we could just pause and say it in the best possible way, I think that's going to be very satisfying to yourself and to others. So yeah, I need to be careful. So I did write one last comment. I'll go through my my 5 points on general tips for nurse management, and that was A, set standards; B, be a reliable resource; C, be fair and honest; D, have a sense of humor, don't be afraid to laugh; and E, motivate and empower your team. And a general comment I want to make is that a great nurse manager helps her staff achieve job satisfaction and success. And the showers are a great success because we all appreciate each other so much. We do. We really appreciate each other so much. So even if we're rushing a bit or complaining a bit, in general, we're all there. We're all volunteers, and we're there to help one another. And in the workplace, same thing. I mean, of course we're making a living. We all do. We have to feed ourselves and our children and have a roof over our heads and stuff. But if that attitude prevails, if we could be committed to helping others achieve job satisfaction and success, man, what a commitment. What a great commitment. So I forgot to look at the clock. I don't mean to bore you. I love healthcare. I love nursing. It's been my life for so, so long. Gold Medical Jobs is there for the healthcare industry, helping healthcare employers. Where's my hand? It's always backwards. Helping the healthcare employer meet the right healthcare employee. Making that match. That's what we're all about. You can find Gold Medical Jobs at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, God knows where else. There's a website, read at Gold Medical Jobs. I wish you great satisfaction and success in all that you do, particularly in your chosen healthcare career. And I will see you soon. Today's Wednesday. Normally we see Mary, but she's out of town. And I'm sure she has a lot to tell us on what's going on with her wellness business. And we'll try to choose a juicy subject when I see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.